Bought a brand new Raspberry Pi 5, follow the setup guide and your first boot looks like this. Before you panic or return the board, don't. A bad first boot is often power, storage or display setup, not a dead Pi. In this video, I'll walk you through a setup workflow based on the official Raspberry Pi documentation, so you can avoid the most common first boot failures, install Raspberry Pi operating system the right way, and finish with remote access plus a tiny project so your Pi actually does something. We're going step by step and I'll link every official reference in the description so you can verify the latest details. Here are the only parts you'll need to care about right now: a USB-C power supply, a microSD slot, a micro HDMI port, and we'll use HDMI 0 first, USB ports for keyboard, mouse, and bonus, Raspberry Pi 5 has CAM Display 0 and CAM Display 1 connectors for cameras and displays, and a fan header if you want automatic cooling. Before software, do this quick check. It could prevent a lot of first boot failures people mistake for a dead Pi. For Raspberry Pi 5, use a good quality microSD card, and I recommend 32 GB or larger so you don't run out of space quickly. If your card says A1 or A2, that's an SD association rating designed for app style workloads, lots of small reads, writes like an operating system. Power is the big one on Pi 5. Raspberry Pi recommends a high quality 5V 5A USB-C supply like the official 27W power supply. Some phone chargers work, but voltage dips can cause warnings and weird instability, so power and cable are the first thing to upgrade. Plug your main monitor into the port marked HDMI 0. Cooling isn't required to prevent damage. The Pi protects itself with thermal throttling, but cooling helps you keep performance consistent under sustained load. Alright, if your power plus card plus HDMI 0 are solid, we're ready to install the operating system. Download the Raspberry Pi imager from the official site. Pick Raspberry Pi 5 for your device. For the operating system, Raspberry Pi OS 64-bit. For the storage, your micro SD card. We will now be customizing the operating system as it saves pain later. Ensure you have your host name, your username and password, put in your Wi-Fi and country, your time zone, enable SSH, not required, but you can also enable the Raspberry Pi Connect. Raspberry Pi operating system doesn't ship with a default username and password anymore, so you either create a user in the screen or you'll do it at the first boot. Click right. When it's done, eject the card safely. First boots can take longer than a normal boot, but here's the rule. If it doesn't boot within about 5 minutes, that's when you troubleshoot. Check your power card and the LED patterns. If you're going headless, give it a minute or two, then try SSH. You can SSH by having your username followed by an @ symbol followed by your host name and .local. Many networks let you reach it as hostname.local. If that doesn't work, grab the Pi IP from your router's device list and SSH to that instead. Once you're in, do update the boring, reliable way by running sudo apt update and sudo apt full upgrade. Quick optional desktop tour, only the stuff you'll actually use during setup. Terminal, you'll use this for updates and SSH. Settings, for Wi-Fi display and turning on remote access. The control center, the quickest place to enable SSH and VNC. Everything else is nice to have. Now let's set up remote access so you can control this Pi without needing a monitor. So there are 3 practical options. Use what matches your situation. SSH is the fastest, terminal only. VNC is for full desktop on your local network. Raspberry Pi Connect is for browser-based access and remote shell, even away from home. If SSH isn't enabled, enable it in settings by heading over to your control center. Raspberry Pi operating system includes a VNC server. On newer desktop setups, this is typically VNC. Turn on VNC, then connect to the VNC viewer from your computer. Raspberry Pi Connect is the official browser-based option. On desktop install, it's installed by default. All you have to do is sign in from your Raspberry Pi. Follow the official Connect guide, sign in, and your Pi shows up in the browser. Alright, quick proof this setup is working. If you have an LED, do this. If you don't, skip it. Here's a one-line test. Print hello from Raspberry Pi 5. That one line runs perfect. For the LED, GPIO 17 through a resistor to the LED and the other leg to ground. Run this. If it blinks, your GPIO and Python are good. If your monitor says no signal, confirm you're using the port marked HDMI 0. Try a different cable monitor. If it still doesn't boot after 5 minutes, recheck power and reflash the card, then look up the LED warning flash codes. For random disconnects, weird crashes, power is the first suspect. Pi 5 is more demanding and low quality power can cause unpredictable behavior. And don't just pull power while it's running. Shut it down cleanly by either pressing the shutdown button on the Raspberry Pi 5 or running sudo shutdown h now. Today you verified hardware, you flashed the Raspberry Pi operating system with an imager and operating system customization, you updated it properly, you were able to set up remote access and run a real mini project. If this saved your setup, like and subscribe. And if you want to turn your Raspberry Pi 5 into an ad blocker, watch this video.